Hi, today we're going to talk about Files and File Explorer. If you already know about how to use File Explorer, how to move files, how to rename files, you can probably skip this video. But I'm going to open a File Explorer window right now. One way you can do that is to click the Windows down here in the bottom left and click on File Explorer. You get a list of all your drives and folders that you frequent on the left. I have various drives. I have some network drives, that's what these are, and some hard drives on the system. I also have an SSD, which I've named OS-SSD. I want to go to my J drive right now. That's where I store a lot of my miscellaneous files. If I open this, you can see a lot of folders. You can consider the folders branches of a tree, and you can consider the drive itself to be the trunk of the tree. Once again, the folders are considered branches, and this file in here is considered a leaf on the trunk of my tree. I'm going to go to the My Documents folder. This is where I store a lot of documents. If I double click this and open it, I see I have a lot more branches in here. Branches can have other branches. If I open up this Android development branch or folder, I can see files in here. Okay, files, remember, are considered leaves, and folders are considered branches. This folder is a special folder. It's called a zip folder. The files in this folder are compressed. We will get to that in another video. Right now, I'm at this view. If I click the View tab here, and I click File Name Extensions, I will get extensions added to the file names. This is useful for me, anyway, to determine what my files are, PDFs or document files in Acrobat Reader. Again, a zip, an archive file, is a zip file. So if you hear someone say, hey, give me a zip file, that's what they're talking about. Let's go to something a little more interesting. Let's go to my K drive, and I'm going to go to my download folder. Here I have a lot of files. Again, normally this is not checked. You can check this and you get all your file types. Right now I have a bunch of files. It's hard to tell what the file types are. If I click File Name Extensions, I see the extensions on these files. So EXEs are executables. MSI, these are installers for when you install programs into Windows. JPEGs are picture files, and here's one we will be concerned with. This is a C++ source file. So C++ source files always end in .cpp. We also have header files when we deal with C++, and they are always .h files. But we want to keep this in mind for when we work with C++ in Visual Studio. To give you an idea of what we can do here, let's say I want to copy this me2.jpg to my desktop. I can drag it over to my desktop. And I've copied it. Let's delete that now. You can right click and click delete, and it says, do I want to move this to the recycle bin? If I click yes, the file will go into the recycle bin. I could also drag and drop. That does not delete the file yet. It marks the file for deletion until you delete the contents of your recycle bin or take out the trash. Let's click no here. I can drag it to here, and it says move to recycle bin. So that will mark the file for deletion when you take out the trash, to say. There's another thing I can do. If I hold down the shift key, if I right click, hold down the shift key and press delete, I can permanently delete the file. That way it does not go in the recycle bin, it just deletes it right away. If I want to copy this file into the same directory, I hold the control key down and I just drag it to the same directory, and you can see I have a copy of me2. I can change the name of this file by clicking the file name and extension, and I could change the name of this file and hit return. Notice it does not give you the opportunity to change the extension. Normally, you do not want to change the name of the extension. That's why only the file name is highlighted. Everything past the dot is called the extension. So to review, be sure you go into the View tab up here and click on File Name and Extensions. This way you will see the extension of every file name here you have in the screen. Now let's talk a little bit about C++ files in Visual Studio, which is what we use in CS 117. I have all my projects on my OneDrive folder. Projects for Visual Studio are normally in your My Documents folder, but you can move the location of where all your project files list, and that's what I've done. But if I click my projects folder, I see a bunch of folders here, and these are all the names of my projects. Right now I have the folder sorted by dates. So the newest project that I work on, or the one I worked on most recently, is up at the top. I can sort by the name, the date, the type, but right now I want to search on date modified, which puts the latest file that I worked on up at the top. And if I click this, I can see there are folders underneath. Let's look at the Visual Studio. I have an H file, a CPP file, and here's another CPP file. If I look at Solution Explorer, I can see my main file, my part file, and my part.h file. These are all considered source files for Visual Studio. Remember, we can always find out the location of where those files are by hovering over here, and it says it's under K OneDrive Projects part main.cpp. If I want to go there directly, I right click on the folder name and click Open Containing Folder. Now projects in Visual Studio create various folders. See, I have a debug folder, whatever this IPCH folder. Here's another part folder. If I click in here, I can see my source files, part.h, part.cpp, and main.cpp. Part.h is a file associated with a class. We will get more information on classes later in the semester. These will be the files that you have to submit. In this case, if I'm working on the program part, I will have to submit my part.h file, my part.cpp, and my main.cpp. This concludes the video on files.